Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Monday, January the 14th. We have a 6-game Monday slate. I'm going to go through each position, talk about some of the guys I like at each position. Of course, I will give my core of 5 players I expect to have a lot of exposure to in my lineups on both DraftKings and Yahoo. Before we do get started, though, I would appreciate it if you guys would drop a like on the video. It does help me out a lot, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. We're going to start off at point guard. We got James Harden at the top of this position. He's 12,400 facing the Grizzlies. And James Harden just right now, at this point in so far in the year, Harden's just a guy you pretty much can't fade at this point unless he gets to an insane price tag. Today he's 12,400. That's really not that expensive when you factor in what James Harden is doing right now. He's pretty much averaging, or he's giving you a floor of about 55 to 60 fantasy points. On Harden's bad nights right now, he's giving you 57 to 60. He's just pretty much carrying the Rockets without Chris Paul, without Carmelo, without Eric Gordon. It's just James Harden put this team on his back. He's playing 40 minutes a night, taking 25, 30 shots a night, pretty much putting up triple-doubles, it seems like, on a nightly basis, giving you 60, 65 DraftKings points every night, and obviously he has that massive 85, 90, even 100-point ceiling. He did just face this Grizzlies team a couple weeks ago, and he put up 82 DraftKings points in 41 minutes against the Grizzlies, had 43, 10, and 13, just a monster game from Harden. He's not insanely priced, or is not priced insanely close to Anthony Davis. Davis is $800 cheaper. Anthony Davis does have a great matchup today against the Clippers. With what James Harden is doing right now, until he gets like over 13K, I think he's a guy we probably want to prioritize getting into our lineups. We do have some news on Kyrie, or we don't have the news yet, but Kyrie is questionable, and if he is out, that's going to open up plenty of value to where it's going to be pretty easy to play James Harden. Even if not a lot of value opens up, I think James Harden's just a guy you want to get into your lineups. On Yahoo, he's still $59, and I think that's definitely an acceptable price tag that you can play him over here. Over on Yahoo, Anthony Davis is only $1 cheaper, and Harden's just a better play. But if I was playing a lot of lineups, I'm definitely going to have 10 lineups in this 50K rake-free tournament. In my 10 lineups, I'm sure I'm going to have probably like 6 or 7 Harden, probably have a couple of with Anthony Davis, and then maybe have like 1 or 2 with both Harden and Davis, depending on how much value opens up. Davis is not a guy that I just want to fully fade, but I would much rather be over the field on James Harden. What Harden's doing right now is just insane. The numbers he's putting up on a nightly basis, really hard to ignore. And even in a slow-paced matchup with the Grizzlies, it's still a spot where James Harden could go for 80, 90 DraftKings points again. So I do like him quite a bit. My only concern is that the Rockets are on a back-to-back, and James Harden did play 43 minutes on Sunday's game against the Magic. That's my only concern, but D'Antoni, if this game's competitive, D'Antoni's going to leave Harden there. He's going to play probably 40 minutes again if the game is competitive. So even on the back-to-back, hard to not like James Harden. And obviously, since I want to pay up for Harden here, it's going to be hard for me to get to guys like Donovan Mitchell, even Kyrie, Damian Lillard. Donovan Mitchell's been playing absolutely fantastic lately without Ricky Rubio, without Raul Neto, without Dante Exum, but his price tag is starting to catch up. He's up to $38 on Yahoo. Hard to play him over on Yahoo now. I was playing a ton of him when he was like $28, $29. Now that he's up to $38, I think he's still a decent play, but not a guy that I'm just going to try and jam into my lineups. I would much rather try and force Harden in than force in Donovan Mitchell. He's 9,200 on DraftKings, and like I said, just not a guy you feel like you must have when he's that expensive. My favorite play, if you're not paying it for Harden here, or if you can find a way to pay it for 2 guys, not necessarily on DraftKings, but over on Yahoo, where Damian Lillard's only $34. I like Damian Lillard quite a bit over on Yahoo if you want to play him. I don't really like any of the other expensive point guards. Like just prioritizing Harden here, it's going to be hard for me to fit in Lillard on DraftKings, fit in Lillard on, or fit in Holiday on DraftKings. I'm mostly going to try and pay up for Harden at this position. In the mid-range, though, if we're going here, D'Angelo Russell's seen his price tag drop a bit, but it is a very tough matchup for him against the Celtics. But if this game stays close, D'Angelo Russell's probably going to be one of the reasons why. If Kyrie's out for this game, that should help the game stay close. So even in a tough matchup, don't mind playing some D'Angelo Russell with his cheap price tag of $6,500. Elfrid Payton's starting to see his minutes creep up a little bit. It is a great matchup for him against the Clippers. Last 2 games, he's played 27, 28 minutes. I imagine he plays about that amount. Could potentially reach into the 30s here if this game against the Clippers is competitive. And at 5,900, don't mind Elfrid Payton in that mid-range, but not a guy I'd be forcing in. Value right now at point guard is pretty thin, but if Kyrie is out, obviously Marcus Smart at 4,600 is going to be a really good play. Terry Rozier at 3,700 is going to be an absolute lock if Kyrie is out, but that's some news we're going to have to wait and see on Monday. I'm recording this Sunday night. We don't have the Kyrie news right now. Since it is a matchup against the Nets and it is a game that Boston should be able to win easily, I would not be surprised at all if Kyrie sits this one out, which obviously is going to open up great value plays in Rozier, Smart, who we could consider at this position. That's probably it for point guard. Let's move on to shooting guard now. Shooting guard at the top, you got DeMar DeRozan, who you could play here at 8,500. But I think I'd rather play guys like Drew Holiday, maybe even Damian Lillard at 8,800. Not going to be playing a ton of DeMar DeRozan today, I don't feel like. Shooting guard's not a position I'm going to be paying up at unless I'm playing Harden. So looking maybe cheaper here, looking for some value. Joe Ingles really benefited lately from all the point guards being out for the Jazz. He's been playing solid minutes lately, been very productive. The game against the Lakers, played 31 minutes, 38 DraftKings points. Not as good of a game against the Bulls, just 26 DraftKings points in 31 minutes. But at 6,100, I could see wanting to play some Joe Ingles today. But his price tag has also started to creep up a bit to where I don't think he's as necessary. Over on Yahoo, he's $23 over here. Price tag starting to get up there a bit. Definitely not a guy you have to have, but still does make sense. He should see plenty of run at point guard with all the point guards out and the backup point guards out for the Jazz. Going to have the ball in his hands a lot. So 6,100, I think he's definitely a playable option. But talking about value here, right now with no news on Kyrie, I think the value play I want at shooting guard is E'Twaun Moore. Obviously, if Kyrie's out, Marcus Smart's probably a better play than E'Twaun Moore. I don't think you can play Rozier here, but you can play Rozier at shooting guard, and he would obviously be a better play than E'Twaun Moore as well. Right now, with no Kyrie news, I think E'Twaun Moore is a guy that we can go to as a shooting guard value play. First game back from injury in their last game against the Timberwolves, we got 31 minutes out of E'Twaun Moore. Only 11 DraftKings points, but the minutes were there. This is obviously a really good spot against the Clippers, a really good game in general to target. Going to be a fast-paced, high-scoring game. I think E'Twaun Moore, if he's going to play 30-plus minutes, is an option we can consider at 4,100. If he knocks down some shots, he could definitely return some good value on this price tag. This game has a lot of appeal, the late-night hammer. Two teams that play fast. It should be a very high-scoring game. I do like E'Twaun Moore as a value play. He's cheap on DraftKings. I think he's pretty cheap on Yahoo as well. Either at shooting guard or small forward if I can find him. He's minimum price on Yahoo. Definitely in play for me if you want to play E'Twaun Moore over here as well. That's it for shooting guard. Let's move on to small forward now. So at small forward, the top here, you got Tobias Harris, 7,700 against the Pelicans. Tobias Harris, Gallinari, these guys are just not really guys I get to a lot. I don't really play them much, especially on decent-sized slates. On a 6-game slate, I don't see myself really playing these guys. They're just never players you really feel like you have to have. Even if Tobias Harris puts up a ceiling game of like 45, 50 points, sometimes that's not even good enough when he's 7,700. So not going to be playing much of Harris or Gallinari. Really, I only play these guys when it's like a 2 or 3 game slate and the Clippers are on it. Small forward for me today, I think Jason Tatum at 6,300, especially if Kyrie's out, is a pretty strong play if you want to go to him in the mid-range. Talking about some value, though, I do like Royce O'Neal as a value play. He's benefited a lot from Rubio, Neto, and Exum being out, and it looks like those guys are going to remain out, especially Rubio now is going to be out for about 2 to 3 weeks. I think Exum's going to be out for a while as well. I think Neto is going to return soon, but should be out for this game, so we should get plenty of minutes for Royce O'Neal. In these 2 games with all those guys out, he's played 40 and 37 minutes. He's been productive, 32 and 34 DraftKings points. I expect we get big minutes out of O'Neal again. Can't promise that we get 30-plus DraftKings points, but as long as the minutes are there and he remains under 5K, I think he's definitely in play, especially on a slate where we don't have value right now. Royce O'Neal does stand out to me as a value play. I like him on DraftKings, like him on Yahoo as well. He's $15 over here. Definitely in play for me if you want to go to him at small forward as a cheap value play. And then I mentioned the guys from the Celtics who are options if Kyrie is out. Just a lot of guys are going to benefit. Kyrie's out. Horford should benefit. Tatum should benefit. Smart, Rozier, Jaylen Brown should benefit as well. Jaylen Brown, you can play a small forward. He is 4,300. These guys all become playable with how cheap they are if Kyrie does sit for this game. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward. Go over this position. So at the top here, you do have Anthony Davis at 11,600. Obviously, a great matchup against the Clippers. The Clippers really don't have anyone that can slow down Davis. But with how closely priced he is to James Harden, at least on Yahoo, where it's a $1 difference, I think Harden's just the better play over there. Like I said, though, if I was playing 10 lineups, I would not go all in on Harden. I would definitely get some exposure to Anthony Davis. On DraftKings, it's a little bit, it makes a little bit more sense to play Davis since he is $800 cheaper. But still, it feels like Harden's the better play, even with Davis, or even though you get a discount on Davis. But again, if I was playing a lot of lineups, I wouldn't just full fade Anthony Davis. I would definitely get some exposure. But if I'm just playing one lineup and I can't fit in Davis with Harden, if not enough value opens up, then Harden's still the guy that I would rather play, even though it is a great spot for Anthony Davis. Also, one of the reasons I'm not as interested in paying up for Davis today is because Julius Randle is $4,000 cheaper. He also has the great matchup with the Clippers. Julius Randle has really seen his price start to decrease, so I'm definitely going to take advantage of this price dropping. He's still playing big minutes, even with Mirotic coming back. We're getting 33 to 34 minutes in competitive games on a nightly basis for Julius Randle. He's been productive in this spot. I know they played earlier this year, and I think Julius Randle put up like 50 DraftKings points against the Clippers. I like him a lot on DraftKings. Even on Yahoo, I think he's a very strong player over here. He's $34. He's also seen his price drop a bit on Yahoo. Just love Julius Randle. Just such a productive player. If he's going to play 30-plus minutes against the Clippers, should definitely be able to pay off this price tag. And like I said, even with Mirotic coming back, we're still getting Randle starting. We're still getting him closing out games, playing mid-30s in minutes, and I expect he does that again today. So love Julius Randle at 7,400. Probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. If you go with James Harden and you can't find a way to fit in Davis, but you still want some exposure to the Pelicans, I think you definitely want to get that with Julius Randle. But talking about other power forward plays, it's a little bit tough, at least in this core, to fit in Al Horford with these guys. So I do want to talk about Al Horford, though, on Yahoo, where he's only $21. This is a great matchup for Al Horford. I like him quite a bit on Yahoo. Like I said, it's a little bit tougher on DraftKings to fit him in since we didn't go with a ton of value over here. There is a value play I want to touch on DraftKings. But if you want to play Al Horford on DraftKings, I think he makes a ton of sense today, especially since you can play him at power forward and center. Great matchup, like I said, with the Nets. He's starting to see his minutes increase as of late. He saw 30 minutes in their last game against the Magic, and I imagine we get 30 minutes again out of Horford, maybe even more. Obviously a great matchup against the Nets. He only played 24 minutes against them when they played about a week ago, but it still put up 34 DraftKings points in just 24 minutes. We know this Nets team really struggles to defend bigs. They're just not the best defensive team in general. Great spot for Horford. If Kyrie is out, that's just an even bigger boost for him. Even if Kyrie plays, I still like Horford at 6,200, even with the price increase. Just given the matchup, how good of a matchup it is, with his minutes increasing, I think Al Horford, a very strong play on DraftKings and Yahoo. But now, if we want to look for some value at power forward, the guy I wanted to touch on as a value play on DraftKings, he's good value play on Yahoo as well. Marvin Bagley, 4,800, I like quite a bit. Another guy that's coming back from injury but has started to see his minutes increase. 25 minutes from him in the last game against the Hornets. I believe he did close out that game over Nemanja Bjelica, so I expect we get about mid-20s in minutes, could reach to the low 30s maybe. I doubt we get low 30s, but definitely could get 27, 28 minutes out of Bagley here. Very productive player. He's going to put up about a fantasy point per minute, sometimes even more. And this is a good matchup with the Trailblazers, a fast-paced team. This game is also a very appealing game. Two teams that play fast. Should be a high-scoring game. Bagley's only 4,800 on DraftKings. Like him quite a bit over here. And on Yahoo, he's power forward eligible, and he's only $14. Very, very cheap. I think he's a really good play on both sides. Now that his minutes are starting to increase and they're starting to trend in the right direction, I think Marvin Bagley is definitely a guy that we can go to, especially while he is still this cheap. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to center. Quickly go over center before we end the video. So at the top here, you got Yusuf Nurkic, Andre Drummond, two guys you can consider paying up for. Hard to not like Nurkic here. He just absolutely murked this Sacramento team the last time they faced. Went off for 82 DraftKings points against the Kings in 37 minutes. Had 24, 23, and 7 with 5 blocks and 5 steals. I would not expect an 80-point game again out of Nurkic, but he could definitely put up 50 to 60 DraftKings points against this Kings team. They're just so bad defensively. They struggle to defend bigs. They play at such a fast pace. It's a great spot for Nurkic. The only issue is his price tag and the position. Like, I think I'd take the savings off of Nurkic and go down to like Julius Randle. But if I have to choose between like Gobert, Drummond, or Griffin, and Nurkic, it's definitely Nurkic there. Over on Yahoo, kind of the same thing. At center, I like the cheap guys with Horford you could go to at $21, but where you have Drummond 36, Gobert 36, Capella 35, Nurkic 35, Aldridge 32, Nurkic is definitely the guy that I would play there at 35. I'm going to have 10 lineups on Yahoo, and I'm definitely going to have some exposure to Nurkic. I don't think he's going to be a core play for me, but he's going to be in at least a couple lineups. Just has so much upside in this matchup. Really hard to ignore. But now talking about mid-tier and value plays at center, before we close out the video, so I mentioned Horford at 6,200. I like quite a bit if you want to go to him. On DraftKings specifically, I think Mirotic is in play. He did play 26 minutes, I believe, in his last game, or 27 minutes against the Timberwolves. He's only 5,700 on DraftKings. If we're going to get high 20s in minutes out of Mirotic, especially in a matchup with the Clippers, I think that does put him in play. I expect he probably plays about 28 to 30 minutes here. At 5,700, Mirotic is definitely an option you can go to, especially on DK where you can play him at power forward and center. And then cheap value plays, Jaren Jackson seems underpriced, but you just never know what you're going to get from this guy on a nightly basis. If he struggles with his fouls, he's going to put up a bad game. I know these teams played earlier, I think. I'm not sure if Jackson got into foul trouble or not. They played on the 31st. He had, it looks like, 5 fouls in that game, and he only played 13 minutes, so he struggled the last time they played Houston. It's hard to tell when this guy's going to get into foul trouble and when he's not, but if he does stay out of foul trouble and he plays 30-plus minutes, he's going to pay off this price tag 9 times out of 10, but the foul trouble, like I said, it's hard to predict for Jaren Jackson. Really only a tournament play just because he's so inconsistent, but still a very high upside player, and at 5,100 has a lot of upside on this price. But he's probably the cheap center play I would go to. I think that's probably it for center and for the value here. And I think that is it for the video, guys. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button down below. I would appreciate it. If you have not subscribed yet, like I said at the beginning, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And also, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section or hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, good luck tonight, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.